Hello everyone, welcome back to Ben's Eternal Perspective. We got an important and more serious topic that we're discussing today. It's going to be the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Now, have you been wondering about what's going on? Have you been seeing all the terror or all the terrible things that are going on? And you're just wondering what actually is true, what actually is not? Like any other political issue, this is extremely polarized. We got sides on both sides, extremely emotional, upset, crying, angry, and because of this emotion, we are inclined to say, wow, I believe them. And we take action or we say things which may not necessarily be true based on those emotions. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to separate emotion from this conversation to be able to really determine what is true and what is not true. And so the format of this video is going to be quite simple. We're going to be going over 4 lies and replace them with 4 truths. After that, we're going to give a little analogy as to what's going on so that you can better understand it. Then we're going to talk about the solutions that both sides has presented. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up by discussing what we as Christians should do. So stay tuned. I want to make a disclaimer. This is not an all-inclusive. I'm sure there's going to be so many more facts, so many more things that I could discuss. This is the surface level, scratching the surface on this complicated issue. Now, I don't pretend to know everything there is to know about it, but I'm hoping that this groundwork is at least going to get you to decipher and be able to determine, okay, that's a lie, that's true. And then you can go from there. So let's get started. Lie number 1. Israel is a colonizer and has taken a land that does not belong to them. Now this is a complete and utter lie. There is absolutely no aspect of truth to this. You see, the land, Palestine, is not actually a country. It's not owned by anyone. It is just a land mass. It's similar to that of Patagonia. And Patagonia has Chile and Argentina. It's not a country. It's not a people group. It's a land area. So Palestine is a land area. The last country to own this land area was Israel. And to be more specific, it was actually Judah, which is the second half of Israel's divided kingdom. And that fell in 550 BC. Since then, it's been occupied by a variety of different people. We have the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, and the Romans. And this is all from the Bible. Now the Romans I think the 2nd century renamed the whole area. It's no longer Israel, but they renamed it Syria Palestina. So therefore, it has come to be known as the land of Palestine to this day. It's been occupied by a variety of different forces, but this whole entire time, for the last 2,500 years, both Arabs and Jews have lived in the land of Palestine. So no, it's not colonization. But you might say, wait a second. In 1948, Israel became a nation. And since then, it has expanded. And that is true, okay? But is it a result of colonization? You see, like I said, Arabs and Jews have lived in the area. So Britain, after World War II, in 1948, split the territory for Arabs and Israel, or the Jews. And this was a big thing. And one day later, just simply one day later, all the Arab nations declared war against Israel because they thought the land should belong to them. It didn't go so well for them. So what happened was Israel expanded in that war and went into enemy territory. However, Israel gave it back to create peace. Now, this happened a few times. I believe in like 1970s, it happened again. And every time Israel won and gained territory. But in order to be a colonizer, you have to take the land that doesn't belong to you. Whereas the entire history of that land was once Israel. So it's not necessarily a colonization of that land, and you can't call it that. So let's move on to our second lie. The second lie is Israel is defending herself and is doing the right things and is this benevolent country that does right. Now, I believe this is to be a completely false lie. It is one of those deceptive lies because it is mixed truth with a lie. Now, the true aspect of this is simple. Israel is defending herself. Israel needs to defend herself. That is correct. There is a group that's trying to eliminate and destroy Israel and all the Jews. So, yes, Israel does need to defend herself. But to think that Israel is good, Israel is perfect, Israel is morally correct, you have to be completely naive to believe so. You see, the Bible talks about sin and our nature as humans. And our nature is to do evil, to be selfish. And where there is money, where there's power, there is a significant amount of corruption. Now, if Israel was a nation that was following God and feared God, this wouldn't be as clear as day. But the fact is, and forgive me, Jews, if I offend you with this, is Israel is not a nation under God. It is not a nation that fears God. In fact, Israel is probably one of the most worldly, focused on the world nation in the whole world. It is not a nation that fears God. And because it has power, because it has people that have money, and they don't fear God, there is corruption, there is evil, there is wickedness. All right, so to think that Israel is all good in this, you have to be naive and you have to be completely ignorant to the human condition. So yes, Israel is not all benevolent in this. Let's move on to the next point. Lie number 3. The people living in Gaza are, the Palestinians that are living in Gaza are living under horrible, horrendous conditions. And Israel is killing many of them. And the whole condition of these people is a result of Israel. Is that it's Israel's fault for this. All right. Now, this lie is one of those, or another one of those terrible lies. In fact, it's got 2 truths and 1 lie in it. So it mixes things so that that the lie can be more palatable and more believable. So the truths. The people in Gaza are living in terrible conditions. True. The people in Gaza are being killed by Israelis. True. That is a result, I can say that is a result of war. But that is true. They are caught in the crossfires of Israel trying to destroy the Hamas, which is trying to kill Israel. So, but the third one is that condition. It's all Israel's fault. This, my friends, is the huge lie. That huge lie. In fact, there is a totalitarian government, a dictatorship, so to say, that prevents rights and water and food to its people. They can't leave, they can't do anything. And this is what's going on. Ever in history, whenever you see a totalitarian government, or whenever you see a terrorist organization running a country, you know it's not going to be good for the people. And this is what's happening in the Gaza Strip. We have a group called Hamas, who is the governing body of the Gaza Strip, and they are tormenting and terrorizing both Israel and their own people. So we can blame Hamas on this. The terrible conditions is based on the governing body that created those terrible conditions. No, it's not Israel's fault. I honestly, I still to this day don't know why the Jews get blamed for everything that's going on. I mean, didn't we learn from Germany? Didn't we learn from Holocaust? No, apparently we didn't. We just blame the Israelites, blame the Jews for everything. It's not their fault that the people in Gaza are living in such terrible conditions. Now, lie number 4 is that Israel wants to commit genocide against the Palestinian people. Now, this is a complete lie. There's no truth to it whatsoever, just like the first one. I actually was going to omit this. I thought it was a straw man. I thought this was so easy to tear down, so I just didn't write it. I didn't include it in my video the first time around. But, I mean, I've seen these rallies, these marches, and every single one of them says Israel is committing genocide. I saw Andrew Tate, one of the most famous men in the world, discuss with Piers Morgan that Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinian people. Now, I believe this is a straw man. I think it's such an easy argument to tear down, and I'm going to just give one reason. Well, Israel has the manpower, has the gunpowder, has the bombs to completely eradicate and destroy Hamas today and all the people that live in Gaza. So just bam, gone, just like that. They can destroy Hamas, they can destroy all the Palestinian people just like that. All right, so genocide? No, not so much. I think the reason why they haven't done it already is because they don't want a genocide. So that would be the truth. And those are the truths and the lies. Allow me to kind of give an analogy, explaining the situation a little bit more and allowing you to understand it a little bit more. All right, first of all, we have a father and a son. And this father meets a woman and marries her. This woman is now the stepmom. Okay? Now, this father is extremely abusive to both the son and the stepmom. So what the stepmom does, she realizes the abuse, she leaves the husband, gets a divorce to protect herself. Does she fight for the child? No, she doesn't. It's his biological child. She just gets out of the situation to protect herself. Now, what happens next? The father files for child support. Now, the mother pays the child support until the mother realizes that the child support is used to abuse the son and to kill the mother. So what does the mother naturally do? Well, she protects herself again. She thinks a little bit selfishly, not about the son, but she does protect herself. So she gets restraining orders, gets walls between them so that he can't kill her, as well as cut off child support. Now, this situation is similar to the Palestine-Israeli conflict. It's not an exact analogy, okay? It's not exact. So you can poke holes in it, easy, but kind of get the idea here. Hamas is the abuser, the father, okay? He's the one that's trying to kill the mother, and he's the one that's abusing the son. Israel is the mother. Could the mother be fighting a little bit more for the son? Absolutely. Could the mother be doing more for the son? Absolutely. But is the mother to blame? Is the mother directly causing this abuse? Not necessarily. The father's causing the abuse. The whole legal battles, so to say, is what's hurting the son, just like it is in this world that the son is getting hurt by the conflict. Now, the son is the Palestinian people who are being abused. Granted, this is abuse and it needs to stop. Right? But you can't really blame the mother. You have to blame the father because the father is the abuser. And Hamas is the father that's abusing the son and that's responsible for all this abuse. So now, hopefully that analogy kind of makes things make a little bit more sense to you. I think it's important now that we move on and try to understand the solutions that both sides has presented. All right, so on one side, we have the Palestine solution. They have this phrase, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Have you heard that? It's on every march all over the world. It's being pounded into us. It is their slogan. It is their solution for this crisis, this abuse that's happening in this world. Now, here's what this solution presupposes, what it assumes. Now, it assumes that these people are not free, which is true, they're not free, but it also makes the assumption that Israel is somehow in control and they are living in some sort of apartheid state to where they are controlling the Palestinian people. This is completely not true. So the assumption is wrong because there's no apartheid state. Israel left Gaza in 2005 and it has nothing to do with it. It's governed by Hamas and Israel is separate. They're two separate identities. There is no apartheid. There is no controlling of everything. It's just simply not true. But I agree that the Palestinian people should be free. But how? What's going on? What is Palestine from the river to the sea? What does that actually mean? I'm going to tell you, it means the eradication of Israel. The complete removal of Israel and putting in this country of, Palestine. And this Palestine country, this new Palestine country, will be owned and will be governed by Hamas, a government ruled by a terrorist organization. Do you think that's going to cause more abuse and more struggle in the world? Absolutely. It's a very terrible solution, maybe creating another Nazi-like state that's bent on destroying Israel and the Jews. So what's the solution from the other side? Well, we have Israel's side. They want to completely destroy Hamas. Now, some people, given this benevolent thing, like I said, they say, they're doing it because they want to remove a tyrannical government and give the people rights to vote in a more democratic system where the people have a say, and they just want to remove that and put in someone else in its place. Well, I'd have to say, it sounds good, but it's just not true. Israel is just defending herself. Hamas wants it destroyed. So their goal, their plan, their solution is to just destroy Hamas. Now, this too is not a very good solution. And once Hamas is removed, who knows what's going to happen next? Who knows who's going to fill their shoes? Maybe Hezbollah, maybe another terrorist organization. We don't know. It's not a very good solution. So in this conflict, the Israeli-Palestine conflict, we have two solutions from both sides that are very bad. Like, there's nothing good about these solutions. And I personally, I'm not smart enough or wise enough or knowledgeable enough to come up with a solution that's going to be good. Now, I agree that Hamas should be gone. It's a terrorist organization. But that's going to be like step one, like to remove them and to remove this abusive father. I agree that that's a good start, but it's not necessarily a solution. It's just maybe it may add to the problems, but I don't know what they are, which leads me to what we as Christians can do. All right, number one, the Bible teaches us that we should always remember Israel and always pray for her. Right? So there's no doubt we Christians should be praying. And there's so many things that we can be praying for. We can be praying for the Palestinian people so that they are no longer abused. We pray for the Israeli people who are also captured and killed as well. We can pray for both sides. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to focus on two things to pray for. Number one, wisdom for the people in leadership in Israel. That they get the wisdom as to what is the best solution. And the other thing I want to pray for Israel is for repentance. They need to turn back to God, repent of their ways, and be a nation once again that fears God. Now, with that said, there is so much more, but hopefully you kind of have a base understanding of the Israeli-Palestine conflict. And when you hear something on the radio, or you see something on the news or from YouTube, you might be able to say, wait, no, that is a lie. That is not an entire truth. Maybe that's true, but that's not. And being able to determine, to see what a lie is and what's not, will help you understand the situation and will help you pray for what needs to be prayed for. With that said, thanks so much for listening to me today. God bless. Bye now.